Hey Toy Addicts, this is Jody, and today I wanted to talk to you about a Christmas item that can make good money. And I know it's a little bit late as recording this to buy things to sell for this Christmas. However, this item does sell all year round. I've had no trouble selling these items in July, and they usually sell pretty quickly too. Everything I'm going to show you here sold between October 3rd and most of it the end of October during that month. I've sold a couple things that were left over in November and one or two things in December, but for the most part, everything sold in October. And everything sold within. It took me a little while to list this stuff. I didn't list it all in one day. And so um, I listed it over maybe 2 weeks, a little bit here and there. And so a lot of this stuff sold within like a day or two of when I listed it, or at least within a week or two of when I listed it. So this is It's a Wonderful Life. Now, we all know the movie, especially if you're a child of the 80s. It played all the time because it was copyright free back then for some reason. And so they played it all the time. And so people love this movie and they collect anything to have to do with this movie. Now, today's video, I'm specifically going to be talking about the It's a Wonderful Life holiday. It's a Wonderful Holiday, Bedford Falls Christmas Village, but I have some things thrown in there as well that are not the Christmas Village that I can show you that also sell well. So let's get to it here. Let me go backwards, some of the things that sold the very first. In this village set, they have the buildings, like I was just showing you, the church building, and all the buildings from the movie, and then some. And this church building, these are used. The boxes are kind of beat up. They have been set up. And all of these come with lights. Inside, you can see in the picture, but I didn't have any of the lights that went with them because these, and I'm not going to talk about what I paid for these either because these were from my mom's collection that she decided to sell. And so everything for the most part was bought retail price, which let's see what's on here. Some of them show it right on the box, but usually the buildings were like $13 or $14.99, and then the people were between. This set actually came with people, most of them didn't, but the people sets were between $1.99 and $5.99 depending on the people, so they were pretty inexpensive to begin with in the 90s. These started in 1993, I believe. Okay. So here's the tough thing about the Wonderful Life holiday stuff. Unless you know what it is or have the box, it's really hard to tell. There's no markings on it. This car, for example, this is one of the car. This is a snowplow from the set. This sold for $25. It's about 3 inches long. It's a typical Christmas village size. You know, it's not any bigger or smaller than your average kind of Department 56 or Lee Max Christmas villages. They're all, around that same size. This item, I didn't take pictures of the bottom of things. I wish I would have to show you, but there's no markings on the bottom. They're all made of sort of a white kind of bisque ceramic that's really cheapy. All of them are hollow inside, and so they have that little hole in the bottom for when they were fired. And you can tell, and I hate to say this, but you can look at this picture. You can tell that it's potentially one of these pieces because they're terribly made. The paint is just bad. There's not a lot of detail. I mean, this one actually is kind of neat and pretty good, but some of the others I'll show you. I mean, you can see there's just the grill is painted bad, the headlights are painted bad. There's not a lot of detail on most of these items, but they still sell really well. This one, $25. And it sold, this was one of the first ones I sold. It sold the very first day I listed it. And you can kind of tell it's the same with the buildings. You can see in the windows, the buildings are a little bit better than the people, than the characters, but not a ton. They don't have, that snowplow is an exception because that one was glossy, but mostly they're not glossy. They're pretty matte, and they just aren't done that well. So this sold for $40. The buildings you can expect to get between 30 to, well, I've sold some $30 to $60. And none of mine, like I said, they're not new. They didn't have the styrofoam in the boxes, so I had to bubble wrap them, but I did mention that. And they don't have the light. So if you find these in nicer boxes, you know, with the original foam and with the light, you could probably push that up a few dollars, but mostly I sold them between $30 and $60. And I don't have the rarest ones either, so there are more rare ones that I can show you. So, like I said, most of the things it's kind of hard to find. It's kind of hard to know unless you know, which is kind of why I'm making this video, because if you find these, you know, if you find one or two pieces, no, they're not a big bolo. But if you find a bunch of pieces together, which is more likely, especially when people are getting rid of their Christmas villages, you know, they have a whole pile of them in their garage. If you see a few of the pieces, you can kind of look at the rest and go, okay, these all look familiar, these all look similar, and so they're probably part of this set. We have the It's a Wonderful Life Village sign. You're now in Bedford Falls. That sign sold for $25. I also kept in here, I had a couple of ornaments. For instance, this Hallmark ornament. This one sold for $10. They're kind of all over the board with what they go for, but again, I didn't have the inserts in the box and stuff, and so I put it for 10. But you can push that up to 15 if you have a nicer one. This moving van here was a special mail away. They had certain items that you could mail away for, and so they were limited. And so this is one of those. And you would think because they're limited and they're mail away that they would be in better, not better condition, I guess is not the word I'm looking for, but they would be more well made, but they really weren't. The words on here are good, which is nice because some of the other ones, the words are terrible too. But you can see that the painting is just, it's not, didn't try. I mean, it's a mess. And it's not like this because it has wear on it. You know, these just only sat on a shelf. It's just, they just weren't made well. But this sold for $50. And then we have, so there's lots of people, villagers. Now, there's specific people that, from the movie that you'll see, and specific scenes with the people from the movie, like Mary hiding in a bush because George has her robe. And so that sold for 20. Let's see if we can see it. So this set was $3.99. And most of these items, almost all of these items were only made for 1 year. Some of the buildings were made for more than 1 year, but the people sets and the vehicles, typically they only had them for 1 year. There's a George and Mary there that sold for 20. And as you can see here, I have the card, but I show that the card isn't, that it's been torn off the card and they're out and everything. So if you had them sealed on the card, you could definitely probably push that up to 30, I would think. And then here's an example where it's not anybody from the movie or anything. It's just kind of town folk. And these two went for 15. So some of those can go for a little bit less, but I'll even show you some that go for more. Here I sold to the same person these two cars for $40 total. And some of these, of course, like I said, there was no markings. You didn't really know what they are, but it's the exact same. This car was the exact same shape as this car. It just didn't say police on it. But it was probably a police car from a different year that they produced. But you can see for the police car, there's just a little decal here. Again, it's not great. That one sold for 20, and then the other sold for 20 as well. So this one was glossy, this one was matte, but they're the exact same shape, so I knew that they were the right ones. There's Sam Wainwright's limousine. Now, there's some other stuff that went with the Target stuff that my mom had for her collection that sold well. There was, when you bought these things from Target, they had shopping bags. And so she had a few of those shopping bags in her collection that she hung on to. And it's like a full-size grocery bag. And I put some of them on auction. This one sold for $19.99. The other ones didn't sell, but then I ended up selling them to somebody for, I believe, $15 each. So it's just a regular grocery bag that says It's a Wonderful Life that came from Target. So some of that side ephemera stuff too that you find, people buy it. People will buy a grocery bag or a shopping bag. And then also they had these little newsletters that they sent out if you signed up. They had like a little card inside each package, and you could sign up to get the newsletters, which would advertise all of the little mail away items. Like, for instance, here is that moving truck, which looks a lot nicer in this picture than it actually looks when you get it. But numbered limited edition, and they were like $9.99 each or something like that. And then they also had this bell Christmas tree that you could get, and this Civil War statue. So again, this is like an ephemera thing. Someone paid $25 for this grouping of the Bedford Falls Sentinels that my mom hung on to. And then we have, here again is another person. Here is another Christmas ornament. The ornaments weren't just made by Hallmark. This one was made by Enesco. And those are a little more desirable than the Hallmark ones. It sold for $25. So find those in their packages. Those can be good. Here's some more of the people. Here's one that I wanted to show you. This was a more rare piece. Well, I couldn't find this piece on there anywhere. I actually didn't find it anywhere on the internet at all as being part of this set. But I knew just by looking at, the quality, the terrible quality, and the size and the shape of all the other people, that it was probably with the set. I know that my mom had picked up some random pieces here and there, so I wasn't sure on everything. But then I realized that let's see. Where is it? Here we go. She had saved a Target ad for when this came out. And the ad, I wish it had all the pieces in it. That would have made things a lot easier. It didn't. But what they did was they put, let me find a page where you can see them. They put, see down here in the corner, they put little people or buildings or whatever. There's another one here within the vignettes of things they were trying to sell. So I had this and I listed, I wasn't sure, so I put it on auction and it sold for $37. But I realized when I was looking, and it's kind of hard to tell because they covered it up here, but there's that skating rink. Let me go back to the other page so you can see bigger. There's that skating rink right there in the middle of the page. You can see the 3 kids. The ice part is kind of covered up, but you see the bench and the dog. So I went ahead and listed the skating rink. I said, Wonderful Life Holiday, ice skating pond from ad super rare. And I figured I could say that because I couldn't find, there's people who have blogs about these villages and stuff, and nobody had this on here. So I listed it for $95. And it's one of those where I'm thinking, ugh, maybe I could have got more because it sold immediately for $95. Like within the hour that I listed it. So somebody was very excited to get that ice skating rink. Some of the other items that I wanted to show you here. Here's another one of those ornaments that's by Enesco. Now, Enesco actually also made an It's a Wonderful Life village, and that does have some value too. But I didn't have any of those pieces, so I wasn't really focused on that. But that does, if you see those pieces as well, those do have some value. Here again is another, this is Mr. Potter, the big bad from It's a Wonderful Life. And you can just see the quality on this is just garbage, honestly. They're just not fantastic. But he sold for $20. So if you come across these, and again, here's Harry Bailey. I had his packaging, but he originally sold for $1.99. He sold for $20. Here's another one of the buildings, Bedford Falls Garage. And like I said, I have picked up some of these at other times that weren't part of my mom's collection and sold them in June or July, within a week for the same price. So this isn't a Christmas only buy. People, especially because these were made in 93 to I think 97 was the last time they produced any pieces for the Target set. We're getting close to 25 years since these were out there. They're harder to find. People are looking for them all year round. People are obsessed with this movie. So as long as there's fans of the movie, there's going to be people who want to buy this. This is a smaller piece than the houses. It's partly metal. The bridge top is metal, but the rest is that same ceramic. And that was $40. And again, the Target ad that shows the village on it. Now, I'm going to put a link to this below. I actually scanned this and made a video of this for my other channel, Advertising Addict. So I'll put a link to that down below. So if you come across some of these pieces, or if you just want to look, if you have something or whatever, and you just want to kind of look it over, you can go there and check this out. Somebody did sell this little blue car that's under the words here for $95 as well. And they said from the Target ad, which is what gave me the idea to write that in mind, that it was from the Target ad. And again, here's some people just holding up a banner, you know, poor quality, $20. So they're not, most of them aren't huge bolos, but like I said, if you come across a garage sale or an estate sale where they have a whole pile of this stuff, there can be some good money to be made here. Now, this isn't any of the Target stuff. This was just a greeting card set. And I'm actually missing some of the cards, and that sold for $30. So again, if you come across this in the thrift store, even if it doesn't have all the cards in it, it's still worth picking up. The high school building is one of the harder buildings to find. That sold for $60. This is one of those mail away items. It's just a tiny little statue. It was like their Civil War memorial in town or something. And that went for $40. Again, more people. That went for $25. This guy here, there's a cop in the movie. This is not the cop from the movie. This is just a kind of townsfolk filler traffic cop. And I couldn't find him anywhere. And again, because they're not marked, I wasn't 100% sure that he went with it. But then I was looking through that Target ad, and you see him down there by the batteries. There he is. So I had actually had him listed for a little higher and didn't get any interest in him. So I put him for $20, and he did finally sell. But there's several here that I didn't show you guys. If you want to look at the completeds in my eBay store to look over these, or just look on eBay in general and look at completed items. Here are those grocery bags. I sold them for $10 each. It's a Wonderful Life items. Wizard of Oz, that's not one. They are some good finds and some good buys if you get them in groups, if you get them cheap enough. Here's another of the ornament set from Enesco that I got $35 for. Okay, guys, that's everything. I think I just wanted to share this with you. If you're going out after Christmas to like thrift stores that have 50% off Christmas or 75% off their Christmas sales, dig through it to look for some of these It's a Wonderful Life things, because they are worth it picking up all year round. Okay, guys, I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and I will see you next time. Bye!